Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. I have a key question for you guys in today's video, and that is our housing market slowing down? There's some additional reports that may suggest the peak of our hot housing market may be behind us. And by the way, if you get any value out of this video whatsoever, then all I ask is for you to hit the like button and also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Okay, thank you so much for doing that. And the first report I want to share today is from Realtor.com. They actually just posted an update about our housing market in the US yesterday. So let me share that with you right now. They stated that this week's data point to an inflection in real estate activity, suggesting that we may have made it past the peak of this hot housing market. Last week marked the first time in almost 4 months that the decline in time on the market has moderated. So in other words, houses are still selling very quickly, but the pace is actually slowing down. But keep in mind, this is only 1 week of data, so we'll have to see if this becomes a long-term trend. Additionally, newly listed houses for sale continue to grow compared with last year, and the steep inventory declines of the past few months have been moderating. The net effect has been a slowdown in listing price growth. While home prices are still growing at double-digit pace, their advance is past peak growth rates. I've noticed the growth of inventory as well, so it's actually increased the past 3 months in a row, albeit at a low rate, but still a step in the right direction. For the week ending June 19th, Realtor.com noted that listing prices increased by double digits for 45 straight weeks. They went on to say that the median home listing price typically hits its seasonal peak in June. Last year, we saw the median list price hit its peak later into the season, into September, due to the pandemic lockdowns. This is exactly why I'm very hesitant to share year-over-year data because this time last year and going into fall, our housing market last year was absolutely on fire due to this pandemic. On top of this, a lot of that pent-up demand that we experienced in the second half of 2020 obviously doesn't apply to this year. In any case, they went on to say the following: while still rising at a double-digit pace, price growth is visibly moderating, with the latest data marking the 10th week of a slowdown from a high of near 19% in early April. If this trend of moderation continues, we will likely see a more typical seasonal price pattern into the second half of 2021 compared to last year. I think most of us would agree that it would be great to have a more normal real estate market where home prices increase around 3 to 5% and not 25+%. In contrast, I'm sure there's lots of you out there that want to see home prices decrease by 25%. They also shared good news that the number of listings has been increasing as well. This is a measure of how many people are listing their houses for sale. They have seen more listings this year compared to 2020 in 11 out of the last 13 weeks. Additionally, the total number of houses listed for sale or housing inventory is still very low, but the numbers are improving. Inventory is now down 42% from last year, but that's far less than the 54% drop registered in early April of this year. And if you follow the channel, you know that I like to give you multiple sources of housing market data. So I want to share a new report that was actually just posted today from Redfin. Redfin's chief economist had some really good insight that I wanted to share with you today. So she said the following: some home buyers are pausing or abandoning their plans to buy because homes in their area have gotten too expensive. Of course, affordability is becoming an issue. Even though there are no signs of prices coming down, home buyers may face a bit less competition and have a bit more selection of homes this summer than they did earlier this year. All year, we've heard stories about homeowners being reluctant to sell because they don't want to face such a tough market as a home buyer. As a housing market cools slightly, we may see more homeowners finally decide to cash out and move. In fact, many home sellers become new home buyers, so there's not a lot of options available for sale, then why sell? In my opinion, if the real estate market does in fact slow down and home prices decrease, this is going to be all over the news, and FOMO is going to set in big time with home sellers. In other words, this could cause more homeowners to list their houses for sale in fear that home prices will go down. Redfin's chief economist went on by saying the following: and as the economy continues to reopen and employers clarify their work from home policies, more homeowners may decide that a move is in order. From this report, here are the key takeaways from this housing market update from Redfin. But keep in mind, this is only for around 400 plus US metros, not every single city in the United States. Home prices increased by 23% year over year to 361,000, which is an all-time record high. Also, according to the National Association of Realtors, records for home prices were broken in the US for the last 3 months in a row. This is also true in California as well. Meanwhile, pending home sales were up 21% year over year. And for the week ending June 20th, pending sales were actually down 10% from the 2021 peak during the week ending May 30th. So in other words, the number of signed contracts is still increasing, but at a slower pace than the peak that was set from 1 month ago. On top of this, active listings, which is another word for housing inventory, actually fell 34% from 2020, but have since climbed 5% since the 2021 low. Meanwhile, according to Redfin, the following records were broken, but please keep in mind these are lagging indicators. What I mean by that is that this is really a reflection of what the housing market was 1 to 2 months ago. Homes that sold were only on the market for 15 days on average, and that was a new all-time low. A record 54% of homes sold above the asking price, and that's up from 26% from a year earlier. In addition, the average sale to list price ratio increased to 102.3%. So in other words, the average home sold for 2.3% above the seller's asking price. Meanwhile, the Mortgage Bankers Association announced that mortgage purchase applications increased 1% week over week. Additionally, lumber prices continue to absolutely crater. They fell below $800 today for the first time since January. Something else that you should be aware of is that the yield on the 10-year US Treasury note, which is tied loosely to mortgage interest rates, that actually rose above 1.5% at the time of this video. 1 year ago, the yield was 0.7%, so it's more than doubled since then. And lastly, mortgage interest rates continue to hover around 3% for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And also consider subscribing as well. You also can follow me on Instagram. I'm Sacramento Realtor. Hope you have an awesome day and weekend, and look forward to seeing you on the next video.